There is a verse in the Bible that describes something science only managed to prove in 2015. And it is not about faith. It is about a specific technical detail that was written thousands of years ago, yet very few people know about it even today. I am going to show you what it is and why it could change the way you see this book. Most people grow up hearing that the Bible is simply a book of faith, or that it is incompatible with science. On one side, there are religious people who reject scientific discoveries. On the other, there are skeptics who dismiss the entire text without ever studying it deeply. And somewhere in the middle, there is a vast amount of knowledge that has been forgotten, hidden in plain sight. What you are about to see is not a conspiracy theory. It is not speculation. It is a text that anyone can read, yet almost nobody has stopped to analyze it with modern eyes. Job, chapter 26, verse 7 says, "He stretches out the north over empty space and hangs the earth upon nothing." Today, this may sound like a simple statement, but at the time it was written, estimated to be between 1500 BC and 500 BC, almost every civilization believed that the earth was supported by something. The Greeks believed the earth floated upon the ocean. The Hindus believed it was carried by elephants. Ancient Chinese beliefs described it as resting upon a cosmic turtle. Yet here, in an ancient Middle Eastern text, we find the statement that the earth is suspended upon nothing, hanging in empty space. That is interesting, but it is not the most remarkable part. The most remarkable part comes next. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22 says, "He sits enthroned above the circle of the earth." The Hebrew word used here is hug. It can be translated as circle, sphere, or vault. Centuries before Pythagoras suggested that the earth was spherical, and more than 2,000 years before Magellan's expedition circumnavigated the globe. This text already described the earth as a circle rather than a flat surface. And this is not an isolated example. In Proverbs chapter 8, verse 27, the same Hebrew root appears when describing God drawing a circle over the face of the deep. Many Hebrew scholars interpret this as a reference to the curved horizon. Two verses, two concepts that appear surprisingly advanced for the historical period in which they were written. Let me tell you a true story. In 1958, a physicist named Robert Wilson was working on a project that seemed almost impossible at the time, building a particle accelerator in the mountains of California. During a break, he picked up a Bible that he had received as a gift and read Isaiah chapter 40, verse 22. His immediate reaction was, "That cannot be possible. How could someone have written this 2,500 years ago?" Wilson did not become religious that day. But the passage left him with a question that stayed with him throughout his career. Later, he reportedly said in an interview, "Either the Bible was written by people who knew more than they should have, or there is something about the nature of knowledge that we still do not understand." Wilson died in 2000. But the question he raised continues to be discussed. And these are not the only examples. Let us look at a third one, and this may be the most fascinating of all. Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11 says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood." Today, every medical student knows that blood carries oxygen and nutrients throughout the body, and that life cannot continue without it. But for thousands of years, advanced civilizations such as the Greeks and Romans believed that life was connected to the air, known as pneuma, or even centered in the brain. Bloodletting, the practice of removing blood as a supposed treatment for illness, continued until the 19th century and caused countless deaths, including that of George Washington. Meanwhile, a text written more than 3,000 years ago stated that life is in the blood. This was not simply a spiritual concept. Blood was treated as the very essence of life itself. now. If you think I am going to say that the Bible is a science textbook, that is not the point. The Bible is not a manual of physics or biology. It contains poetry, theology, history, law, and prophecy. However, the fact remains that within these writings there are passages describing natural phenomena with a level of accuracy that seems surprising for their historical context. And this raises an uncomfortable question. Have we underestimated the knowledge of ancient people? Because it does not end there. When you begin to explore these texts further, you discover more examples. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 6 describes the movement and cycle of the winds with remarkable meteorological detail. Job chapter 38 verse 16 refers to the springs of the sea, something that was only understood through modern deep sea exploration. Psalm chapter 8 verse 8 mentions the paths of the seas, referring to ocean routes and currents that were only properly mapped centuries later. Each of these passages, considered individually, could be explained as coincidence. But when you place them all together, a pattern begins to emerge. Here is what many people are not talking about. There is a group of researchers, including archaeologists, physicists, and historians, who are revisiting ancient texts using modern tools and methods. What they are discovering is that ancient civilizations may have possessed knowledge that we often assume belongs only to the modern world. This is not about aliens or unexplained intervention. It is about something much simpler and more intriguing. Perhaps we have exaggerated the ignorance of ancient people while underestimating their ability to observe, record, and preserve knowledge. From this perspective, the Bible is not a magical book. It is a collection of accumulated wisdom, combining early observations of nature, philosophy, and faith. And in some areas, it appears to have captured ideas that were far ahead of its time. So, to summarize, Job chapter 26 verse 7 describes the earth hanging upon nothing, long before humanity had a modern understanding of space. Isaiah chapter 40 verse 22 describes the circle of the earth long before its shape became scientifically established. Leviticus chapter 17 verse 11 connects life with blood, while many advanced civilizations were still practicing bloodletting. And many other passages suggest that biblical writers may have understood aspects of the natural world more deeply than history often gives them credit for. The Bible does not need to be a science textbook to contain scientific observations. It does not need to be a history book to preserve historical knowledge. Perhaps the issue is not the text itself, but the perspective through which we choose to read it. If you have reached this point, do something for yourself. Read Job chapter 26 verse 7, research it independently, and come to your own conclusions. Then come back and share what you discovered. And if you enjoyed this different perspective on a text that almost everyone knows but very few people truly examine, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. This is only the beginning of a series of deep explorations that may change the way you see the oldest books in human history.